I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey, AfterBuzzers, welcome back. Today we are discussing Netflix's new show, The Eddy. We're super excited to get into it, and I am not here by myself. I am Toree, and I am joined by Sanaa Moore, who is our music enthusiast.
Hi, everyone. So excited.
And then we also have Damien Chazelle's #1 fan, who is gracing our panel, which is Allie James. Hello.
Hello, guys. Hi. Excited to be here. Excited the show is finally out.
Yes. So with this hour-long show, you know, we have so much to talk about. We're going to talk about Elliot. We're going to talk about Fareed. We're also going to talk about the club. And we also have some news and some special segments later on in the show, so definitely stick around for that. We're reading you guys' comments in the live chat, so definitely throw out questions, throw out how you guys react to some things. We definitely want to get you guys in the conversation. But first, before we jump into that, let me hear you guys' overall thoughts. So Sanaa, what did you think about this episode?
Girl, let's just start off with the music is bomb, okay? Yes. Whoever was in charge of the music for this series, you did an A++ job. I love it.
Beautiful, yes.
Yes, Allie, what did you think?
Like I said, I've been anticipating this show, and so overall, I enjoyed it. For it being the first episode, I think there's still a lot to explore with all the characters and everything. The beginning was a little slow, like I was trying to just understand and connect all the pieces, but then by the end, I was hooked. I was into it. The music was great. So I'm excited to just keep watching and see where it goes. But overall, I'm into it. Yeah, I was happy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you guys. Like, the music was spot on. I was honestly enjoying that maybe more than the rest of the show. I was like, this music is great, especially when you're watching it in the morning. It's just really good. And then, like you said, Allie, it did start off a little bit slow. This is the first episode, so we're just kind of like laying out the groundwork. And that brings me to my first point. So in this episode, we're kind of just being introduced to all the characters, setting the scene, trying to figure out what's going on. And one of the main characters is Elliot, who is one of the club owners. And it kind of seems like he also has a music background that he might have, retired from or whatever. So my first question is, what was you guys' first thoughts of him and just kind of like his character throughout the first episode?
Yeah, Eddy, Elliot. Elliot is definitely interesting, to say the least. To me, he likes to play a lot of stuff, kind of relatively safe here and there. And let me tell you, I was really upset. I wish he would have fought back a little bit when the Serbians came and beat him up asking for the money, but I'm proud that he did. I guess he really couldn't fight back, because I don't know what I would do either if I was getting jumped by the Serbians too in my own club over some money I don't have.
And he was alone. Yeah, I think, oh my gosh, Elliot. Okay, he's very mysterious to me. Like, I feel like there's so many layers to him, and I feel like this show is just slowly going to be like peeling those layers, like episode by episode. I don't know. His relationship with his daughter, we'll probably get into that, but was interesting. He's just interesting overall. He seems like a very quiet, sensitive to himself type, but I don't know. Like, I still am trying to figure him out, but I like him as a lead.
Yeah, it seems like there's just a lot of backstory and so many different things. Like, there's a lot going on in his family life. There's a lot going on with his past career. There's a lot going on with the club. Like you said, there's just so many layers to him. And I like that you brought up the daughter, because that's a layer that I think we kind of got an introduction to seeing. We still don't know the full story. But after he picked up his daughter from the airport or train or wherever she came from, you can definitely see that there was some type of tension. What did you guys think about their dynamic when you first saw them on the screen?
I think it's like, I don't think he's very involved in her life, or maybe, I know the mother and him are sick. I think they might get more into it later on in the next episodes, but I don't think they really have like the best relationship, because she came pretty feisty, and he's just like, the first thing he says is like, where's your instrument? Like, where's your clarinet? And she's like, dang, like, I think she just does music just to, like, also, create that commonality between him and her. But I don't think she really wants to play anymore, and she just wants to just enjoy her time. But her and her dad are kind of night and day so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moment that she, the moment she first got off the train plane, I don't know, I guess train, she probably took a train into Paris, but she went in for he went in for a hug and she kind of like rejected him. So right away, I think we just saw this huge disconnect. And then I think we slowly got some moments throughout the show. I think his son died. So her brother died, Fred, I think they said his name was. So I think there's some backstory there. We don't know what happened to his son. But I kind of, did you guys catch that too? Something about his son, I think his son passed away.
When they were in the diner, I definitely heard that tidbit, and it kind of, I was like, okay, we have even more to unpack here. Like, I definitely thought we were just going to try to figure out the dynamic between the daughter and maybe like him and his ex-wife or the mother of his kids. But then when they mentioned the son, I was like, okay, wait, there's a lot going on here, and it'll reveal like why he's in Paris and not in New York with the rest of his family. And that's not what you said about the clarinet. Like, it definitely seems like she does it to kind of like keep her dad happy or to, you know, make him feel good and make that music connection. But it doesn't look like she cares anything about that daggone clarinet, even when she had it in her hand. She still wasn't trying to play it. She was like, Dad, can you put this back? Like, not trying to have it. And like you guys said, it does seem like he tries to play by the rules. And even when he was getting jumped, it didn't really seem like he even knew what was going on. Like, should I defend myself? Like, who's in the right here? What's going on? What money? But then that brings us to Fareed. So Fareed he's kind of like, if Elliot plays by the book, Fareed does like the opposite. And he has like, you know, speakers that have been stolen. He's like doing dirty business with people around. There might be a mistress. So what did you guys think about the Elliot and Fareed's dynamic?
Well, it's interesting. Their friendship is very interesting. And even in the beginning, you know, Elliot is very, you know, like we said, by the book so far. He's very critical. He's very type A. You know, he wants everything to be perfect. I don't know, you know, in the beginning when they first played, when it was, you know, the opening act, I thought it sounded great. But according to him, it was trash. Me too. He said it was trash. I thought it was gold. So it was kind of like that dynamic. And then Fareed is trying to like, you know, say it was fine, it's okay. And even when it came time to him to perform and Elliot's like, no, like, you know, I'd rather have it just be instrumental work and nobody sing because obviously it's all going downhill. And Fareed taking it in his own hands, he's like, that's what you think, but I'm going to get on there and sing. So they're kind of not into just like with his daughter. So, you know, it's just going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Allie,
I
what do
agree.
you think?
I have questions about Fareed and his relationship with, was it Amira?
I think so. See, we think that might be the mistress.
There's something going on there because I was like, okay, I thought he had his wife at home. But then when they were like in the office, I was like, wait, is this the same woman? Like, is this a mistress? Does it seem like it was
kept rewinding. I was like, are they the same? I couldn't,
Yeah.
I don't think so because she was up here, you know, laying with him, cuddling with him, wanting to be with him. And then all I hear is two kids saying, Dad, Dad.
Exactly.
I'm like, Dad, this man is a father and he has time to cheat. Man, he has too much time on his hands. Right. Obviously, he's playing more than instruments.
He is. And we saw that like the previous night, he didn't even go home. So it's like, clearly you have more things keeping you out at night than the club. So that was interesting. But then the minute that we try to unpack Fareed and everything that he's been doing, he gets killed. So it was like, okay, well, I guess we're done unpacking that. I guess that's the end of that character arc because we don't get to see the rest. How did you guys feel when you saw him go to the trash and then he didn't make it back out?
Oh my gosh.
It's like a gangster movie gone wrong. I was like, what? Now that's when it started getting really exciting. And I'm like really wanting episode 2 now because I need answers. And you know what I'm really waiting to see? Is like when he has his funeral, Well, I'm gonna save that for predictions. I'm gonna just save it for predictions. I'm not even gonna do you like that. I'm gonna save it for predictions.
I didn't even think about that. Now I'm excited. Oh my god. Yeah, that was agreed with Toree. Yeah, I was ready to finally, like, he was so confusing to me the whole show, just with his relationship with the wife or mistress or whoever. But yeah, and then he just died. And I was like, wait a minute, he had the potential to be a really important character in the show. I thought he was going to be, and then they just write him off. I was shocked. But we'll see. Yeah. I don't know what's to come.
I definitely thought it was gonna, like, that's the, I don't know, the story that we were gonna ride to the end, like this whole like night and day. We had two different people trying to run the club two different type of ways, and you definitely saw that, like, even though they had their different ways, the music is what like kept them connected. They're both really passionate about whatever instrument they're playing at the time, and then it was just like, okay, wait, never mind. And this show definitely is one that, like, the minute you think you're piecing something together, they're like, you're not. You're definitely not. You're not on the right track. So surprisingly, after Fareed dies, the club is packed for the first time. Why do you guys think that, like, after this tragic event has happened and everybody knows about it, that now people are swarming the club? Allie, what did you think the reason behind that was?
I was trying to figure that out myself. I was because what was her Maja said at one, is that how you pronounce it? Said at one point, like, well, nobody's gonna come. Somebody died here. And I was like, yeah. And then people just start coming. And I was a little bit like, of course, like what you just said, like the moment you think you have it figured out, something happens, changes. So I thought for a minute that Elliot said he was going to play that night. Didn't he say to someone, like, I'm going to play? I don't know. I thought he said that. So I wondered if it kind of, the news spread around town, like, oh, Elliot is going to be like taking the stage tonight. Because I have this feeling he's actually like a musical genius and everybody loves to come hear him, but he never plays. The band plays and he kind of sits back. So my thought at first was maybe rumor had it that like Elliot was going to play. And so everybody showed up. Or maybe it just was a good, I have no idea. I was really confused by that. What do you think?
Maybe it was just a good night.
Right.
I think maybe it was just his spirit along, and, you know, people are curious. They want to know, like, what type of club is this that, you know, people are getting murked at? Like, let's check this out. I personally would want to stay home, but people are intrigued. They want to know, like, they've probably already heard the buzz about it, but now they really want to know, what is this club all about? And, you know, guys, I don't know if you watch Power, but this reminds me of Power in a strange way, because it's like they're both in the club business, and at this point, you know, Elliot, in a way, I mean, he's not as gangster as Ghost, but, you know, he kind of reminds me as being a club owner, wanting to do things legit, wanting to do things like that. And, you know, even with Fareed, you know, that's the Tommy. And with him, he's, you know, doing the things the illegal way, like even with the Serbians, you know, making sure the club stays safe. Because, you know, sometimes, you know, you hire some gangsters and then they'll make sure your club stays safe and they'll make sure, you know, nothing happens. And it's just like the going back and forth of it. So that's what it kind of reminded me of. I know, like, I just had to throw that little tidbit out, because every time we keep unfolding about this, I'm like, this reminds me of Power, but just not as, like, gory and stuff. Ghost died at his club, too. He died at his own club. So.
It's crazy that you said that, because that's the kind of, like, story I was comparing it to. I was like, okay, it's like Ghost and Tommy. So when he died, I was like, wait, one of them doesn't die to the end while we died at the beginning. That's
right. I mean, what's going on?
With the daughter, I was like, okay, the daughter is giving me like a less dramatic version of Tariq, you know, less rebellious, but still like making that push between her dad. So I was like, okay, this is how it's going to play out. No, it did not. So it was just really interesting to me that, like, the most successful night that they had was after this tragic event happened. Allie, I think you bring up an interesting point, because, like, every time they talk about the club going bad, and when he was talking about the guy with the label, everybody's kind of hinting that, like, we're not really interested in the band, we're more so interested in you. And I think maybe that's why the club hasn't been doing well, because maybe at one point, like, he did play and everybody flocked to hear him play, and then after he kind of like refused and just wants to sit in the audience with everyone else, everyone was kind of like, okay, well, it's no point of going because he's not going to play anyway. And I think maybe somebody was like, oh, because his friend died, he might play in his honor, so let's all go see. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the reason. And I think maybe we'll kind of see Elliot's relationship with music a little bit more down the line. But like I said, we'll say that for predictions because we're going to see what happens. But before we get into that, Allie, you have a special segment for us.
Yes, I'm so excited for this one. Actually, okay, our producer Ryan helped come up with this, so shout out to Ryan. But so as you guys probably know, Damien Chazelle directed, I think, 2 episodes of this show, and he was an executive producer on it. Damien Chazelle is one of my favorite directors. He also did La La Land and Whiplash and First Man. And a lot of his shows do tie in with the whole like jazz and men, I guess, and just hurt men. I don't know. Anyway, so if anybody remembers the Oscars, I think, what was it, 2016, 2017 maybe, but La La Land and Moonlight, which our lead Elliot, who is played by Holland, was in. Moonlight won Oscar or Best Picture of the Year at the Oscars, and do you guys remember when they messed it up? Lauren Batty? Lauren Batty? I don't know. She messed it up and said La La Land won when really Moonlight won. Baby. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of the moment. Everybody's cringing in the audience. Like, it was so awkward. So I thought it would be fun for this show to have our special segment be the La La Land moment, where La La Land got snagged from the Oscar Best Picture win. And I'm sure for this episode, we would all probably agree, since we've already talked about it, that Fareed's death was probably the, like, oh my goodness moment. But besides Fareed, what do you guys think from this episode was kind of like the jaw dropper or something that took you by surprise?
Fareed's mistress and the kids calling him dad. That's what took me out. Definitely had to rewind. Yeah, I had to rewind it. Like, did these 2 kids just say dad?
Yeah.
Same. And it kind of seemed like, I think another jaw dropper was like, whoever's kids these are, it didn't really seem like the told the kids about like the dad dying. She was just kind of like sitting there, and I was like, these kids seem to be, functioning real regular. Like, I don't think they know the news. Like, are you going to tell them? And so it was kind of interesting because I'm kind of like you said, with the whole like funeral thing, it's like, you got to tell everyone who he's close to needs to know that you won't be seeing him around anymore. And it just kind of seemed like she was like holding that information in. So I was like, girl, you like, come on, this is your responsibility, low-key. Like, you have to say something. So I thought all of those things, like Fareed in the nutshell, was just a jaw-dropping thing of the.
Yeah, like everything that stemmed from Fareed. Also, the moment when we found out about Fred, Elliot's son that passed away, that was a moment too where I was like, oh, okay, wow. It kind of helped explain why he was so just sad seeming or just distant from everyone a little bit. So I think that was a big La La Land moment. So, yeah.
Yes, we love these. I love a good special segment moment, which is so nice. It just kind of like ties something into the show. And then we also have some news brought to us by Sanaa.
Yes. Well, one part of which would be a fun fact of the show was that all the songs were played live on set and recorded while filming. So all of what you saw was live. They weren't doing, usually you'll see soundtracks and they'll play in the background and it's lip singing. No, this was all done live. So kudos goes to all of the instrumentalists and vocalists during the entire series, because you guys rock that live.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That gives like a really authentic feel to the show even more, because like now you can see that these people are honestly really know how to play their instrument. They're not really just faking it, but it just kind of like sets the scene even more. And I think that's so cool, because I feel like a lot of shows don't do that, or maybe I just don't know about it, but that doesn't seem like to be a normal thing. But thank you for that news little fun fact. I'm actually interested to hear more about the show as we go along. But you guys have been waiting for this, and now it's time for our predictions about what's going to happen throughout the rest of the season. So, Allie, kick us off with your predictions.
Oh my goodness. I Honestly, my prediction so far, we're going to see more of Julie, the daughter. I think she's going to come to be one of the prominent characters. I think even though she's hesitant to play the clarinet, I think there's some reasoning behind it. And I think the club is going to become more successful. I think we're going to see Elliot start to play, which might spark something in Julie, and maybe she decides that she misses playing with her dad. Maybe she joins the band and takes the stage at the Eddy. And I think we're going to see a lot more from Maja as well. I know there's definitely something going on with her and Elliot that we haven't talked about or they haven't touched on yet. So maybe I think that they dated or something went wrong. We'll see about that. So maybe they end up kind of dating again, maybe? I don't know. I like her. I like Maja. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
So now, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, I almost spilled the beans earlier, but I think for its funeral, I think the mistress and the wife are finally to meet. And when he has the funeral, that's when we're going to really see if it's just one woman or if it's the mistress. So
yeah,
I
also think that we're going to get like a weird funeral dynamic, not just with the wife and mistress and kids and all of that, but I think we're also going to like see the behind the scenes dirty work that he's been doing. Like I think some of these like people are going to start popping up because, you know, people love popping up at the wrong place and wrong time. And I feel like come to the funeral demanding money and everybody's going to be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Elliot is going to be confused again. I think that like this funeral scene is just, we're going to see like so many people and how they played into it. And I think even though he's not alive anymore, I think we're really going to see like the layers of Fareed's character through his funeral. So I'm hoping that happens. And I also think that Julie and her father are going to get a closer bond because as you can see, like they just are very distant. He left her at the club, didn't even see how she was going to get home. So I think that like throughout this series, they're just going to grow a stronger bond. And maybe at the end of it, she'll like decide to move to Paris instead, or he'll decide to move back to New York. But I definitely think they'll be able to build some sort of stronger bond throughout this series. But that's all the time that we have today. If you guys are in the live chat, definitely keep leaving those comments. We love reading them back later because sometimes we don't really get to see it. But if you don't get to leave a comment in the live chat, definitely leave a comment down below. We love reading those as well. We might even bring up some of your questions and comments in the next episode. If you have any questions, leave them there. Give us a big thumbs up because we would really appreciate it if you give us a big thumbs up and tune in. So we'll be back here at 1 discussing episode 2. So you definitely want to stick around for that. Before we go, Sanaa, where can they find you on social media?
Yes, you guys can find me at IAM_SANA_ on Instagram and IAM_SANA on Twitter.
And you can find
Allie,
me,
where can they find you?
Yes, at Alexandra Janes on Instagram and Twitter.
And you guys can find me, this is like an ongoing joke. You can find me on Instagram at Toxic Model or on Twitter at Toree with 2 E's. And you can also find us. You can find our articles on the AfterBuzz website, on Black Hollywood Live, or you can find some of the other shows that we've been panelists on our YouTube channel. So definitely like float around, click around, find something for you to watch. And we'll definitely see you guys here at 1. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.